bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News, 24/7 daily local news update. I'm your host, Jasmine McTague, coming to you live from Jersey City, New Jersey. Now, the details at this time. Happy Tuesday, fellow New Yorkers, and welcome back to another edition of the New York City Daily Roundup. Today's Wednesday. And today is February 16th, and the cold weather continues to impact the area. So, yesterday's temperatures were peaked at 31 degrees Fahrenheit, as sunny conditions will continue throughout the day. The low is set for 15 degrees Fahrenheit, as temperatures dip into the mid to high 20s after the 5:30 p.m. sunset. New York City saw 1,430 municipal employees be terminated last week due to their refusal of COVID-19 vaccines. City services will go unaffected as these employees have been on unpaid leave for over 3 months. City workers serve on the front lines during the pandemic, and by getting vaccinated, they are once again showing how they are willing to do the right thing to protect themselves and all of New Yorkers, said Mayor Eric Adams. Our goal was always to vaccinate, not terminate, and the city workers stepped up and met the goal placed before them. Out of all the New York City employees who have received notice 2 weeks ago, only 2 who worked last week are no longer employed by the city. I am grateful to all city workers who continue to serve New Yorkers, and great stuff done for the greatest city of the world. The New York Knicks were defeated in overtime by the Oklahoma City Thunders by the scores of 127 to 123 on Monday at Madison Square Garden, and the Knicks have lost 9 of their last 11 games, now hold a 13-16 record at home. On to our next story. Metro Police are looking for a person they said robbed a Metro conductor at Van Buren Street Station, Chicago. Police said shortly after 2 p.m. Tuesday, a Metro Electric Line train pulled into the downtown station. After it stopped, the suspect, who was a passenger on the train, pulled out a black semi-automatic handgun and announced the robbery, according to police. The suspect showed the conductor's cash and fled on foot into the station. Police said the suspect originally boarded the train at the 147th Street station in Harvey. Metro released surveillance images of the suspect. Anyone with information about the incident or suspect should call Metro Police at 312-322-2999. Our next story. A Phoenix priest baptized people for decades and using one and using one wrong word. Now those baptisms are all considered invalid. Father Andres Arango recently resigned as a priest from St. George's Catholic Parish, nearly 19th Avenue and Osborne Road. Though he is still a priest in good standing, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Phoenix say this isn't the first time something like this has happened in the history of the church, and is doing everything possible to remedy this issue. The mistake all comes down to two words, using we instead of I. Morego tells ABC 15 he recently took 3 of his 4 daughters to get baptized. This time it was valid, and Father Arango was the one baptizing using I and not we. Morango said with the relief smile. The spokesperson with the Diocese of Phoenix said Father Arango was using the incorrect word from 1995 until last summer, which is when the diocese was made aware of the issue. Baptisms he performed after June 17th of 2021 are presumed to be valid. Father Arango is currently doing his part to help those who were invalidly baptized. Father Andres made it right. ABC 15 asked Arango, yes, he made it right, he said with a smile. On to our next story of the hour. Massachusetts public health officials updated their mask guidance on Tuesday, dropping previous advisory that everyone should wear a mask indoors, and instead of recommending face covering being worn by unvaccinated individuals and vaccinated persons with specific conditions. The Department of Public Health, in a statement, said officials now advise a fully vaccinated person should wear a mask or face covering when indoors and not in your own home. If you have a weakened immune system or if you are at increased risk of severe disease because of your age or underlying medical condition. The guidance also extends to people who have someone in their household who has a weakened immune system and is at increased risk for severe disease or unvaccinated, the statement says. The updated guidance recognizes Massachusetts is a national leader in vaccine acceptance and takes into account that COVID-19 cases and other important public health metrics have decreased in recent weeks, said the DPH. And now a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Daily Local News Update. Our next story of the hour. The Los Angeles Police Department asked for the public's help in tracking down information regarding a December 2021 follow home robbery. The robbery happened on December 11, 2021, around 8 p.m. in the parking garage of the 1200 block of South Flower Street in downtown Los Angeles. Surveillance cameras captured the two victims exiting their vehicles before walking into the nearby elevator lobby. As the victim waited for the elevator, two suspects exited a black Volkswagen Tiguan, while one suspect, James Stewart, 31, stayed in the vehicle. The two suspects that exited the vehicle before walking into a nearby elevator lobby. As the victim waited for the elevator, two suspects exited. One suspect was armed with handguns, held the victims at gunpoint, and demanded their property. Police identified Kenneth Bond, 18, as one of the armed suspects. As of February 15th, he was still at large. The victims gave up their jewelry, phone, and keys. Two suspects ran out of the lobby. One suspect entered the front passenger seat of the Tiguan, while the other suspect stole the victim's vehicle. They were last seen driving south of Flower Street. Our next story. The given names marked in the University of Minnesota Library. It is appropriate because Archie Gibbons, Minnesota's first Black millionaire, has a remarkable story. My father was a very passionate person. My father was a very assertive person, said his daughter Roxanne. My father, just by his presence, sometimes could make individuals shake in their boots. Archie Gibbons was born in Minneapolis in 1919 and an indentured servant. His parents died young, and at the age of 14, Gibbons was on his own. He started working at the Minneapolis Club. That's when he came in contact with a lot of influential people, said Roxanne. They recognized his desire and his ability to, make things happen. And did he ever make things happen? All with the help of his love from Minneapolis, Phoebe. My mom was his partner, Roxanne said. He always said nothing could have been achieved without her by his side. Gibbons started an ice cream parlor that thrived, and then he and Phoebe opened the first integrated nursing home in Minnesota. When Black people were finally able to legally own their own homes, he developed houses in the south of Minneapolis. He became the first Black millionaire in 1974, but he wasn't all about the money. The bottom line is not the money you accumulate, but it is what you do with the change to make things happen, she said. On to our next story, Mardi Gras. There are a few celebrations like Mardi Gras, the beats, the bands, and the hurricane cocktails. It's one of the most iconic cultural festivals in the country. Last year, all that stayed packed away as the coronavirus forced New Orleans leaders to cancel most events. Festivities resumed this year and culminate in a big bash on Fat Tuesday, March 1st. But enjoying the Big Easy won't be as easy this year for some. You must be vaccinated if you want to join the more than 1 million people who flock to New Orleans for the carnival events every year. If you don't want to get the jab or can't get them in time, you can bring a negative COVID-19 test from a previous 72 hours, Fox News reported. These rules apply to anyone over the age of 5. Local leaders said they will set up several rapid testing sites and vaccination locations across the city to accommodate the influx of tourists. You'll also need to wear a face mask for all indoor events unless you are actively eating or drinking. New Orleans required face coverings at some large outdoor events as well, according to the city's website. That's the way we're going to get through this safely, the city spokesperson Bureau Symbol last year when announcing the measures. However, the city won't be enforcing these rules by and large. that job will fall to the hostesses, restaurateurs, and bartenders who must verify patron vaccination or COVID-19 test status. That puts some struggling business on the front lines. Another, on to our next story. Many across the nation are reacting to the death of 35-year-old Christina Yuna Lee, the woman who was stabbed to death in her New York City apartment after being followed. Police arrested 25-year-old Asamid Nash on charges of murder and burglary. Lee's death has sparked rallies protesting violence against Asian Americans in the Chinatown neighborhood of New York City. Local groups here in the Bay Area say this tragedy hits close to home. This one was pretty tough. This one was hard. The video of me last night about the tips, I made it around 1 a.m., but I couldn't sleep and I wanted to do something, Hudson Lau said. Founder of San Francisco community organizations Asians Are Strong, Hudson Lau was emotional on Tuesday talking about the murder of the 35-year-old. I have families out there, and I know that the neighborhood they were mentioning for Christina too is scary, Lau said. Police found Nash hiding under the bed. He was arraigned Monday night on murder and burglary charges. Lee's death comes nearly a month after Berkeley's native Michelle Go was shoved to her death in the front of an oncoming New York City subway train. Now a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Daily Local News Update. Now to our next story. Russia and Ukraine. A Russian invasion of Ukraine would be devastating and a wider European war even worse. Whether the large war happens would depend partly on President Vladimir Putin's ambition, partly on the West military's response, and partly on plain luck. Although the US and European officials have said for days that Russian invasion appears imminent, Putin's government on Tuesday publicly welcomed further security talks with the West. It also announced that some of its sources backing Ukraine will be returning to their regular bases, although U.S. and other Western officials say it was too early to tell whether the invasion threat had receded. War by its nature is unpredictable, and the stakes are enormous, not just for an overmatched Ukraine, but for Europe and the United States. At risk, arguably, is a European security order established after World War II and then altered peacefully with the reunification of Germany, the demise of the communism in Eastern Europe, and the collapse of the Soviet Union and the expansion of NATO. On to our next story, but continuing on Russia and Ukraine. Fears among the Western government that Russian invasion of Ukraine is imminent have eased, but not disappeared. So diplomatic efforts to avert war got new energy this week after President Vladimir Putin said Russia was willing to discuss security issues with NATO, and Russia said it was withdrawing some of its troops gathered near the Ukraine border. The United States and its allies have welcomed the diplomatic overturn, but says that they have seen little evidence of a military de-escalation. The U.S. President Joe Biden said late Tuesday there were 150,000 Russian troops massed on north and south and east of Ukraine, and Western officials say an invasion could still happen at the drop of a hat. NATO's defense ministers are meeting in Brussels as the West tries to deter an invasion on one Russia insists it has no intentions of starting. Here's a look at what's happening and where and why Russia's defense ministry has announced that some units participating in military exercise will begin returning to their bases. A statement welcomed as a good signal by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, but it wasn't immediately clear where exactly these troops were deployed or how many were leaving. Our next story, German BioNTech. German vaccine maker BioNTech, which developed the first widely approved shots against COVID-19 together with Pfizer, unveiled plans Wednesday to establish manufacturing facilities in Africa that will boost the availability of much-needed medicines on the continent. The modular design presented at the ceremony in Marburg, Germany, consists of shipping containers fitted with equipment necessary to make the company's mRNA-based vaccine from start to finish, and save for a final step of filling doses in bottles. BioNTech has been criticized by some campaign groups for refusing to suspend its vaccine patent and let rival manufacturers the shots as part of an effort to make them more widely available, especially in poor countries. The company argues that the process of making consistent quality of the shots worldwide, this first turnkey facility will be shipped to either Senegal or Rwanda in the second half of this year, BioNTech said, and it aims to start production of up to 15 million doses of vaccines a year there within 12 months, pending approval of local regulators. BioNTech said the system, which consists of 12 containers, can be easily scaled up in the future and modified to manufacture vaccines against other diseases that occur widely in Africa, such as malaria, tuberculosis, when it becomes available. Our next story of the hour. Prosecution witnesses were to retake the stand Wednesday in a federal hate crime trial of 3 white men convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery. On the first day of testimony, Tuesday, the jury heard from neighbors of the defendant to describe how the fatal shooting in February 2020 shocked them. They also watched graphic cell phone videos and saw crime scene photos of Arbery's bloody body before hearing excerpts of interviews the defendants gave to police. Father and son Greg and Travis McMichael armed themselves and used a pickup truck to chase Arbery as he ran through their coastal Georgia neighborhood on February 23, 2020. A neighbor, William Rhodey Bryan, joined the pursuit in his own truck and recorded cell phone videos of Travis McMichael blasting Arbery with a shotgun. No arrests were made until the video leaked online 2 months later. Both McMichael and Bryan were convicted of murder last fall in Georgia's state court and sentenced to life in prison. All three pleaded not guilty to federal hate crimes, charges accusing them of violating Aubrey's civil rights and targeting him because he was black. A jury of 8 white members, 3 black people, and 1 Hispanic person was sworn in on Monday to hear the case. Prosecutors say in an opening statement that evidence will show each defendant had a history of making racist comments. Defense attorneys say there is no excuse for their clients' use of slurs, but insist that their deadly pursuit of Aubrey was motivated by the earnest through enormous suspicion that the 25-year-old black man had committed a crime. Now, a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News 24/7. Stay tuned.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News 24/7 Daily Local News Update. And now the story at this hour. Russia, Ukraine. Russia said Wednesday it was returning more troops and weapons to bases, but NATO declared it saw no signs of drawdown as fears that Moscow could invade Ukraine soon persist. Russia has massed about 150,000 troops east, north, and south of Ukraine, sparking Western concerns it was planning an attack. Moscow denies it has any such plans and this week said it will be pulling back some forces and weapons, though it gave few details. Those claims have been met with skepticism from the U.S. and its allies, and even as they seem to lower their temperature following weeks of escalating east and west tensions. On Wednesday, the Russian Defense Ministry released a video showing the trainload of armored vehicles moving across the bridge away from Crimea and the Black Sea, a peninsula that Russia annexed from Ukraine in 2014. A day earlier, the ministry reported the start of a pullback of the troops following military exercises near Ukraine. But NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg threw cold water on those statements, saying the military organization does not see any signs that Moscow is decreasing its troop levels around Ukraine. At the moment, we have not seen any withdrawals of Russian forces, he said, before chairing a meeting of NATO defense ministers in Brussels. If they really start to withdraw forces, that's something we'll express doubt. We will welcome, but that remains to be seen. The countries in alliance have also expressed doubts, as have leaders in Ukraine. Caught between Russia and the West, Ukraine leaders have repeatedly sought to project calm, but also strength during the crisis. On to our next story, the European Union's. In ruling held as bolster to democratic values, the European Union's highest court said Wednesday that the 27-nation bloc can suspend support payments to member status if they breach rules of law principle. The right-wing government of Hungary and Poland, which had challenged the EU right to take such action, responded by arguing the rule lacked a proper legal basis and would fundamentally interfere with their running of national business. Both nations, large recipients of EU funds, have come under increasing criticism over the past few years for veering away from the democratic norms with policies such as exerting excessive control over judiciary, stifling media freedoms, and denying the rights of LGBTQ plus people. When it comes to the democratic principles, the European Union must be able to defend those values within limits of its power, the European Court of Justice said on Wednesday's ruling. The court's decision was the last impediment to EU's institutions without holding funds from any government they consider to be odds with core democratic principles. The rule, seen as the EU's most potent weapon to prevent democratic risk from deepening within the bloc. The approved 14 months ago, and the Executive European Commission wanted to apply it. Our next story of the hour. Alec Bowen. The family of the cinematographers shot and killed on the set of the film Rust sued Alec Baldwin and the movie producer Tuesday, alleging their callous disregard in the face of safety complaints led directly to her death. After the news conference announcing the lawsuit, attorneys for the husband and 9-year-old son of Helena Hutchins said that Baldwin refused training for the type of cross draw he was performing when he fired the shot that killed her. Baldwin's attorney responded that any claim that the actor was reckless is entirely false. The suit filed on New Mexico Santa Fe County in the name of Matthew and Andros Hutchins showed a text message exchange between camera operators and a producer in which a complaint over gun safety was met with what the suit calls callous and sarcasm. The operator, Lang Looper, texted unit production manager Catherine Walters saying, "We've now have 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe," Walters responded. "Accidental discharge on a firearm? Awesome, sounds good. At least 4 other lawsuits have been filed over the shooting, but this is the first directly tied to one of the 2 people shot. The defendant's reckless conduct and cost-cutting measures led to the death of Helena Hutchins." Attorney Brian Panache said, "Had proper protocols been followed," the suit said, "Helena Hutchins would have been alive and well, hugging her husband and 9-year-old son." And now for the last story of the hour. South Korea. South Korea will distribute free coronavirus rapid test kits at schools and senior care facilities starting next week as its weather, an unprecedented wave of infections driven by the fast-moving Omicron variant. Health officials on Wednesday reported its highest daily jump of coronavirus infections, with 90,443 new cases, shattered the previous one-day record set on Tuesday by more than 33,000 cases. The figure represented more than a 20-fold increase from the levels seen in mid-January, when Omicron emerged as the country's dominant strain. And some experts say the country could see daily cases around 200,000 in March. While experts say Omicron appears less likely to cause serious illnesses or death compared to the Delta variant, which rattled the country in December and early January. Hospitalizations have been creeping up amid the greater scale of the outbreak. Prime Minister Kim Boo-kyung, Seoul's #2 official behind President Moon Jae-in, said officials will start distributing free rapid test kits next week at kindergarten, elementary schools, and senior care facilities, including nursing homes and neighborhood welfare centers, to strengthen protections for the unvaccinated children in high-risk groups. Education Minister Yo In-hyen said schools will be getting enough kits for students to use twice a week, but added that such tests won't be mandatory. We ask for students to be tested at home with the rapid antigen test kit on the evening of Sunday and Wednesday before coming to school. You said during a briefing, when testing positive from those tests, please visit the local health office to get a PSR lab test. And this was the daily local news update of Millennium News 24/7. Log in to get the latest news. All of our social networking sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, is Millennium News 24. Our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers now on both networking, broadcasting, Android, iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news and views. Our Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google, www.millenniumnews24.com. Stay with Millennium News 24/7. Thank you for watching.